welcome to another episode of From Trigger to Transform podcast. I am your host and transformational coach, Coach Deborah. I am so excited to be coming back to you on another episode. And look, you guys, it's all about creating a life of possibilities, those
Mm.
opportunities that give unto us. You see, as Christian leaders, oftentimes what happens, we pour out so much to others, but then we never seem to have an opportunity where we're getting poured into, where we're actually building up. But this is that podcast, this is that platform by which you are not only going to be heard, you're going to be encouraged, and you're going to be empowered. And so on today, I have a very special guest that's joining me, and we're going to be chatting it up a little bit. This is going to be somewhat conversational, you guys. I know that a lot of things we've been talking about as far as leadership, but I wanted to take a little opportunity to be able to come in and engage with you and help you to understand that life might be lifing, but it doesn't have to stop you from building your best life. And that's what today's episode is going to be all about, talking about building your best life even in the midst of adversity. And so I have a very special guest that's joining me, and I'm telling you, you're going to love her. Her name is none other than Coach Deborah. Coach
Yay.
Deborah, I'm so
Hi.
excited. Look, I want you to get an opportunity, Coach Deborah, to be able to come on in. Coach Deborah Smith. Let me give her full name. Let me not give her full name, but I love her so much, and we chatted up so often, and we just coaches with each other, so we just call
Yay.
each other by our first name. But Coach Deborah, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself to my audience. Tell them what you're all about, and then at the same time, let's get into this conversation.
All right. Coach Della, thank you so much for this opportunity. But yes, I am Coach Deborah. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. And first of all, I am a child of God. That's first and foremost. And, and that's the most important thing. But I am married. Been married going on 25 years. We have 4 children, which is 3 adult sons and an adult daughter. We have 7 grandchildren, which I call my heartbeats.
All right now.
And they are just that, my heartbeats. I am the children's pastor of our children's ministry at my church, St. Paul Church of Jacksonville, under the leadership of Bishop John Eric Guns. And I just love people. I love people. I love to be there to assist others, to do whatever I can. I love to connect with individuals. Just like Della and I, we had never even seen each other face to face. I think we just back and forth on virtually for maybe a year and a half, and we got to be
Yeah.
like this. And so now we
Yes.
are all coupled up together. And it's
That's
just
right.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
But that's just a little bit about me. But I just love people.
And you know what? And that's what's so good about this, And on this episode, like we said, we're talking about building your best life. And one of the things that we're talking about in relation to building your best life is people. Connecting with that and how you can really build your create your new normal, even in the midst of adversity. And so when I talk about adversity, I'm talking about when you've had those life altering events that really changes your full trajectory of what's going to happen. And in some cases, you seem to either be stuck or you seem to like, now what? You have this now what mindset, like, how am I going to get over this? And so, what we want to do on this episode, because it is called From Trigger to Transformed, and we want to talk about that transformation. We want to talk about how we can really, truly live our best life in the midst of adversity. So, Deborah, just thinking about the word adversity, or even thinking about having like maybe joy personally in the midst of that. What does it mean to you when we say adversity, and what is what does it look like to have joy in the midst of a challenge?
Well, once upon a time, that word I would just go, but now living the life and learning how to build upon what happens. When I think about adversity, I just think about a life altering situation that it may not, is when we hear adversity, we think negative. It
Yes.
actually may not be negative. It
Yes.
may be God pushing us out of our own way because He has something better for us. And I had this situation that came up, and do I have time maybe to talk about it a little bit?
Let's go. Yeah. This is
Okay.
what it's all about. You got some time. Let's go.
Okay, so it was my younger son. He was in high school. He was in ninth grade, but he had been at this school since he was 3 years old. It was a Christian
Hmm.
school. Well, I get this phone call that I need to come to the school because he said one cuss word, one, right? And so I get to the school and it's like, he's expelled. He can't go to the school any longer. And I'm like, huh? And it was like, this is one of your A students. He plays sports. He's been recognized as Citizen of the Month, Citizen of the Year. What do you mean? He said one cuss word. He shouldn't have said it, but you're putting him out of the school. Talking about adversity, I broke down. I
Yeah.
lost it.
Mhm.
It was worse than when my mom died.
Mm.
I
Mm.
lost it. I couldn't even drive my car. Somebody had to take me home. I lost it. And to make, not to drag the story out, the end of the situation, that adversity that I thought was just, no, couldn't help. They said, okay, he can stay, but they had put so many stipulations on it that, you're not going to make my child fail. You just had some football players that were drinking, which is immediately expulsion, but they're still
Right.
here, but it's okay. So we got him is the last 9 weeks of the school year. So I'm saying, can he stay just this 9 weeks and you never have to see him again? No. So, okay. So he goes to this school and my sister-in-law happens to work there.
Hmm.
So he went there for that 9 weeks and knew more than just about everybody at that school. And so my sister-in-law wanted to know, well, why was he there anyway? Have you heard about this program, the early college program? No. So she told me about it. We immediately applied. So when he graduated with his high school diploma and his
Come on.
AA degree. Look at God. Free. But that was that adversity. God had to get me out of my way because I never would have moved him
See.
from that school because I
See.
thought that was the best place for him. So I got joy out of that situation because I did allow God to do it. I mean, well, I didn't allow God to do it. He had to push me out of the way. Like I said, I had no intentions of moving him. But that's what happens to us a lot of times. We just think, oh, woe is me. That's just the end. I give
Yeah.
up. And that's
Yes.
why we have so much mental health issues today. But we
Yeah.
just got to take that breath and say, okay, God, I'm going to give it to you. I know you got this situation.
Right.
I don't see it now, but I know at the end of the story, I'm going to have the joy because of you.
You see what, that's so powerful what you said and what you just shared with that. Even that it might have caused you to emotionally, like, just have a moment, but yet still when you took that pause. And that's what I'm saying in the sense of when we're talking about building your best life, when we're talking about getting joy out of a challenge, because we never know what the challenge is going to lead us to. But I always reference James chapter 1, verse 2, where it says, count it all joy when you go through trials and tribulation. Why? Because it produces a patience, it produces perseverance, but it also gives you the wisdom, the experience of how it is that you can come out of that. And one of the things that, throughout my programs that I emphasize, with my clients is, look, you still have some in something else in you. There's still more that you can really do to maximize not only your full potential, but you coming out of this situation, where that you is even more empowered, more inspired than before. And so one of the things and the questions that I want to ask you is, how can what does building your best life really look like in your view?
Well, building your best life, in my view, when I think about it, it's we all go through adversity. We all have issues in our lives, but what do we do with those type things? And I think that one important issue is you can overcome obstacles and build your best life. You're gonna have rough terrain, you're gonna have detours, you're gonna have obstacles, but you maneuver around and you go along until you find the right path and you continue going. It's
Oh,
just
that's
like
good.
when you are driving, and
Yeah,
I'm one, I don't like driving in the rain, but you're driving and
yeah,
you like, oh my goodness, it's raining. Do I pull over? Do I pull over? Well, if you pull over, that's gonna delay you.
yeah.
It's really dangerous because
Right.
people see these lights, they may follow the lights, but if you keep going, eventually you're going to run out of those clouds because it's the cloud. The rain's not following you. And what do you see? A rainbow, bright sunshine. So you got to keep going. Build your best life. Do whatever it is you got. We're talking this year about blueprint for success. So
That's
whatever
it.
goals you have, whatever the plans that God have for you, you got to
That's
keep
it.
going and build your best life.
And I like the fact that you talked about goals, because goals are important. And I've been on this focus point about vision. And vision really, as I saw it was the, what you might say, not only the blueprint, as you mentioned with goals, but it actually is that driving force. It's that thing that helps you to, when you're not sure where you want to go, it's that steering wheel. It's that
Mm.
that steering on a boat ship, whatever the wheel is that leads the boat. It's the one that really gives you the sense of direction and a plan as to what you're going to do next. And one
Yes.
of the things I know, that when my situation happened, when my husband asked me for a divorce, right in the midst of me dealing with a major health crisis, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't even know how I was going to recover. Why? Because my identity, hello, was tied into the marriage of everything. And so now it was a death of me. I felt the death of my identity. I felt it was uh everything that I said that I had yet built up to become, it was gone. And so I had to sit there and now figure out, who am I? Where am I going to go? What is my next steps? Because now everything that I thought was me and was secure, it was all gone. And so what I realized, that was my trigger of understanding that my whole life has been based off of my opinion, or what somebody else's opinion and what they said and what I was doing. I never knew who I was.
Mm.
And so not knowing who I was the trigger that helped me to say, hey, I got to discover Della. I got to discover Della. And then in that discovery of who Della was, that's when it helped me to, now I realize I got to create the best normal that I could create, dealing with my situation, dealing with my health crisis, but then transforming myself into becoming truly, truly the person that God had called me to be, because everybody else was forming that. And so going down that journey helped me to understand that you better know you before you can even give yourself to someone else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but look
So
at you now. Look at you now. I mean,
yeah,
that's
you
one
know
of the
that,
wonderful things
and then when
about
I think
knowing
when I
you.
yeah, when I think about that, I was just like, wow, God. But you just said something. Look at me now. Come on with it.
Mm-mm. I mean, that's just one of the wonderful things about knowing Della. I mean, you mentioned the name Della. It's like, oh my goodness, she is just. I mean, she just brings breath into a room. You can't sit there and be, because oh, there's Della, because Della's gonna be. She's gonna have life in her. She's gonna be talking positive. She's gonna be having that smile on her face. So you can sit there like if you want to. Hey, the Della gonna pump it up.
You know what? And so when I think about that, when I think about building the best life, got a question for you. Where does family and community and friends, where that can come in and fit in with helping us to build our best life?
Well, maybe I got in trouble about one time about saying this, but it does take a village. It takes
Yeah.
that community. And today is so much different than 50 years ago, 70 years ago, when you had that mom and dad and those kids. Now, 1 in 5 children under the age of 18 are being
Wow.
raised by a single parent.
Wow.
And 80% of those single parents are moms. So then moms got to pick up that extra. So then she may know and have that wisdom and those life lessons that those kids need to have, but she's now being stretched. So if I got to work 2 jobs or 3 jobs, and maybe I didn't have an education, so now I got to try to get some education as well, who's going to step up to assist me? So
That's
I
right.
need those educators. I need those coaches. I need those neighbors. I have to go to work. Can you watch my house? If you
Wow.
see the kids doing anything wrong, check them. A lot of times we don't want others to check our kids. They so
Mm-hmm.
precious, but
Mm.
where's precious gonna get you? We
Mm.
have to work together
Yeah,
because what I know, you don't know. What
that's
you
right.
know, that person over there don't know. We have to work together. That's why on Build Your Best Life, I have everybody from all walks of life coming in, bringing their expertise. I don't have them all. I have the vision, but I don't have all the knowledge. We have to work together. That's why everybody comes in as a package to help. And this is especially for our young men, our young adult males. And then I found out something in working with that niche, because that's my
Mhm.
niche. Okay, I want to help you, but are they going to come listen to Miss Della and Miss
Mm.
Deborah? Okay, so then I got to reach out to those mothers with sons. We got to encourage them. We got to keep them prayed up. We got to let them get those tools that they need. Show them that, hey, you can't do it by yourself. Let someone assist you. And then so then they can get that and then they can lay hands on those sons.
Let's talk about. You know what? I'm glad you made that transition, because that's exactly where I was going to go there. Because we're talking about building your best life, as in the midst of adversity. How we can find joy in the midst of adversity. And I know that, like you just said, that is your niche, and that's where you really, really excel in, and you really have started a business, or really a movement in relation to that. Why don't you talk about that?
Okay, well, Build Your Best Life was birthed in 2019. And I love children, but I have always had a special place in my heart for young men
Mm-hmm.
because let's just face it, some of the things that happen in society is not fair to our young men. So they do get profiled. There is a such thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about what I don't know about. I
Right.
have been a single mom for
Let's
raising a
go.
teenager. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you don't know what's going on in their homes. They can
Mm.
be being physically abused, verbally abused in the home. They had all these things going against them. I see young men that have money, but they don't have any financial literacy. They have parents, but the parents are trying to help them spend the money. They're not trying to teach them
Teach them
anything,
about right, right. Mm-hmm.
right? So where's the respect? Where's it how to treat young ladies? How's it about taking care of your body?
Mm.
Like I know all of us know now about one of our TV personalities, for a better lack of a better word, and you're bragging about all these babies that you have and all these baby mamas, not your wife, all these baby mamas. So that tells us you don't care about your body, you don't care about yourself at all. So you don't care and you're not respecting these young ladies. That's not cute.
No, it's
So,
not.
somebody needs to tell them this. Somebody needs to help them. So that's why I birthed it, and it's a nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit, to go into the schools. And when I first started, when we went into COVID. So I've been doing it virtually, but I have had the opportunity to go into schools, to go into detention centers. And
Mm-hmm.
our last cruise, I went to. We had 4 ports. I went to 2 of those and I visited 3 schools and detention centers to get that message out. There are some things that you need to do. Yes, you have things against you, but you can overcome obstacles and build your
That's
best
it.
life.
Yes.
Things that were generational curses, you can
That's
say,
it.
that's not me. You can overcome any obstacle and build your best life, but you have to know. Because if you don't know what you don't know, and if you don't know, you can't do better. So that is why I started this. And I know it's helping people, but I wanted to help people all over the world. Like I said, I love people. So I want to see our young men become entrepreneurs, musicians, or whatever. Like we just had out one of our big, oh, I'm so proud of him. He's done all these things. Now you're in the news for sex trafficking and all of this. Yeah, I want you to be big, but I want you to do it the right
Right
way.
way.
Do it the right
Ah,
way.
yeah,
Your
yeah,
reputation should mean something. And I see
yeah.
I'm gonna start preaching, so I'm gonna leave that alone.
Well, you know what you just said is just so powerful. And I know that that's one of the good things that I love about what you've been doing and how you've been really engaging and I love what you just said about you bringing, you might know some things, but you might not know all things. And that's the reason why you bring in other entities and other peoples in all walks of life to be come in to really share. And that is really, really so important when we're talking about creating our new normal, when we're talking about building our best life, even in the midst of adversity, even when you might, even in spite of you still going through something like I am, I'm back in dialysis, and people would say, dialysis? You don't look like you going through anything like that. And see, and that's what I'm all about. That's what from trigger to transform is truly all about. Being transformed, where that you are empowered, where you are inspired, where you're making and you transforming from the inside out. I have a motto, and 2 models actually that I live by. One, that my will to live is stronger than anything, these diseases or whatever. And my second motto is that a change bring a change. And
Oh,
so I made the decision that I was going to create a life of possibilities. And how I'm going to create these life of possibilities is I'm going to maximize the full potential of what God has given unto us. And so, Deborah, I am really so excited that you have joined me today and do our session, because it's truly has been impactful. I love everything that you have truly shared. Now, before we leave, is there any points or strategies that you can offer our listening audience in relations to building your best life?
Yes. Well, building your best life, I have 5 building materials, and I'm not going to go into them, but my 5 building materials are your associations, those people that you have around you,
Yeah.
your self discipline. You
Mm.
have to be responsible for yourself. Mom and daddy can't do it. You got to be responsible. Your goals, you need those goals. You need to know where you're going.
That's it.
You can say you going somewhere all day long. If you don't know how to get there, you can drive all day and will never get there. Then you have to have positive mindset. You are what you think. So you
That's
got to
it.
be positive. And you
That's it.
need that financial literacy. You can be a billionaire today, and next year you don't have a penny. So that. But the tips that I would really like to leave is one and foremost, love yourself.
Oh, that's good.
You are the most important person in the world to you. Now, I know you might say, oh, but I love my kids. I love my kids to the moon, all the planets, and back. But if Deborah not at 100, I can't do a thing for them. What did they tell you on the plane? Put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and
Always.
then on anybody else that you're responsible for. Because if you put it on them first and then you fall out, who's going to help you?
That's
Love
it.
yourself.
That's
Love
it.
yourself. You got to love yourself. That is so important. And then your name. And when you're young and you're growing up, that's the only thing you have. Choices have consequences. Build your reputation. It takes 1 second to ruin a good reputation.
That's
Well, I
it.
take blood, sweat,
That's
tears,
it.
and years to build a rebuild one.
That's
Stop
it.
and think before you do things, before you jump in that car with your friend, before you say yes all the time to what they're asking you to do. Stop. One bad choice, and you can be in prison for life, and you can be deceased.
Oh, Jesus.
Your credibility.
That's it.
Then listen. We don't listen. You know, we all got 2 ears. We got 2 ears because we need to listen. And listening doesn't mean while Dad was talking, I'm like, okay, what up? You know, so when she finished, she's gonna ask me a question. So I gotta be see what she gonna ask me. Because if I'm doing all that, I'm not listening to her, Della. I'm kind of hearing her say something, but I'm not listening. You
Oh, that's
miss
a good point.
so much when
That's
you
a
don't
good
listen.
point. Good point.
The owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Sean Khan, one of
Mm-hmm.
his things, he was poor, he was an immigrant. But
Mm.
when he went to the fraternity, he wasn't trying to drink and turn up. He was listening. The little rich guys was talking about investing. He was listening.
Yeah.
Now he is a billionaire. Okay? You got to listen. Somebody knows something that you need to know. Listen. And then we talked about this earlier. There's always someone assigned to assist you.
That's it.
Don't think you know it all. You may have a great GPA. You may be a honor roll. You may have graduated summa cum laude. But let somebody help you that's been there and done that. Don't do everything by your experiences the hard way. Don't do that. And then I'm gonna give you a bonus. You need to be able to. This is what I love. We always want to fit in.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody
That's
wearing
it.
bell bottoms. I'm
That's
gonna do
it.
that. Everybody wearing the cap backwards. I'm gonna do that. Everybody getting dressed. I'm gonna do that. Some of them are getting dressed because that's where they came from. That's their
Yeah.
heritage. You don't even
Yeah.
know why they're doing it. It is so better to stand out. If
That's it.
somebody is looking for somebody special and there's a crowd, they
Yeah.
can't even find
Yeah.
you.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look at that one over there. Standing quiet, polite, respectful. I'm gonna choose that one. Don't be trying to fit in. It is better to stand out.
Woo. Woo. That's so good. That's so good. You know what, Deborah? all of those points that you just shared was so powerful, and then I'm hoping that those who are listening, that they will gravitate to it, and that they will hold on to each and every point, because it is so important as we're talking about building our best life and finding joy in the midst of adversity. What I would love for you to do before we end one more time is let people know how they might get in contact with you.
Sure, not a problem. Again, it's Build Your Best Life with Deborah D. Smith. You can contact me on my website, which is www.buildyourbestlife.org. www.buildyourbestlife.org. From there, you can go to the social media platforms that I'm on, which is Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. You can email me at BYBL, which is Build Your Best Life, BYBLWD at gmail.com. BYBLWD at gmail.com. I'm on live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I have a blog that comes out each Monday. So thank you so much. I hope that you will connect. You'll be back if you do.
Oh, girl, this is so powerful. Look, as much as I know that I can continue on chatting it up with you, because look, girl, this is so good, because it really souls into the ebb of where I'm going in relations to From Trigger to Transform podcast. And with that being said, I want to thank you for joining me this week, and with my very special guest, Coach Deborah D. Smith, and on From Trigger to Transform podcast. Also, you can follow me up on Facebook, and you can follow me on Facebook at Coach Delamay Major, on Instagram at Coach Della Major. And look, as always, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so that you can be able to catch every episode. And when I say click on the subscribe button, make sure that you hit that notification and notification all, so that you can receive not only when we're coming on, but then any highlights that we might be dropping up in relations to the show and in this season. And so definitely, I always say this. I'm serious. I want to hear from you. Leave us a review on iTunes and leave us a comment. We want to be able to address and really respond to anything that you might share. And we want to hear how you enjoyed the show. Now, as a special bonus, with this episode, so we're talking about building your best life. I've actually created a 30-day calendar. I am declaration calendar. And what it is scripture-based I am affirmations that you can use each and every day, not only to inspire you, to empower you, but to actually help you to define who you are and where you are and what God says that you are. And so you'll be able to click on the actual link that will allow you to be able to download the 30-day calendar affirmation. And I know you're going to be inspired, and I know you're going to be empowered with that. And with that being said, again, thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you and talking to you again on our next episode of From Trigger to Transform podcast. Have a blessed day, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.